Hello and welcome to this latest episode of Life Changing Words. I'm Steve
I'm
and
Roger.
Roger here. Thanks for
My
joining
turn.
us on this
Yeah.
episode. It's your turn today, Rog. And
Yeah.
what have you got for us?
Big one for me. It's actually it's an Olympic motto. It's an
Right.
Olympic motto. And the motto is the essence lies not in the victory, but in the struggle.
Nice.
Olympic
Yeah, to
motto.
Kubertan, right?
I guess so. I
Will
guess
be.
so. But the interesting thing for me is I came across this, consciously at a really important time in my career. It was a few months before the Atlanta Olympic Games. I would say 6, 7, 8, 9 months. I was in California getting ready for my last Olympics, knowing that this was my last chance of Olympic success. I was, Chris Akabusi had retired. I was sort of, I'd just recently had a knee operation, and I knew this was my last chance, Atlanta Olympic Games, and I wasn't in a great place. And I was in California, and in my days off, now and again, I go and visit art galleries. I just like to do that. And I walked into an art gallery in Laguna Beach. It was in Southern California, and I walked in, and there was this sculpture, and it was of a gymnast. And I thought that looks amazing. And I suddenly picked up the literature, and I realized and found out it was the official Olympic sculpture for the upcoming Atlanta Olympic Games. So in Atlanta, outside the gymnastics arena, is this
Yeah,
huge
it's
statue
enormous. Yeah.
of a gymnast, enormous. I could stand inside the sort of ring at the bottom of it, and I have a photo of that actually. But they've done these sort of smaller versions, obviously, for people to buy, limited edition. And I loved it. And then I read the literature, and it said the artist got his inspiration from the motto, the essence lies not in the victory, but in the struggle, because it shows a
Yeah.
gymnast in quite a tense, struggling position. And I just thought about that. And I kind of, the penny dropped a little bit. I thought, because I felt I was struggling. I thought it had been one long, hard struggle to get to this point. And it was, I just thought, I just pondered on that motto for days and days.
How
And it
long
really helped
before
me.
the games are we talking here, Rog? I
I
mean,
think it was, I would say it's 7, 8 months before
because
the
it might
game.
surprise a lot of people to hear that you were in a bad place.
Oh,
Probably,
yeah.
I won't spoil the story,
Yeah, it
but
was.
it ended
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a surprise, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
so that was off the back of
I
injury, and
yeah, and I
what
often
was
talk
going on?
about I was in this space they call insanity, because I was just going through the motions, and I needed to do something different.
Okay.
And in every way, I just had a knee operation. Fortunately, that worked. And yeah, I just needed something, and this really was something for me, because what I did was I thought, the truth is, this is supposed to be a struggle. This
Okay.
whole point of this whole dream of winning an Olympic medal, actually, it's supposed to be a struggle, because there are times, and this in your career, there are times, when you've snapped your Achilles tendon, or you've broken your foot, or whatever it may be, where you go, surely it can't be this hard. It wasn't supposed to be this hard. Well, the truth is, it is. Any performance journey is. And I think once we acknowledge that, and we almost embrace the struggle, and how many times, every book you read, or every person who talks about success, everyone, he says, oh, it all comes through failure. You got to, the more you fail, the more successful you are. And you go, absolutely, I get that, but no one likes failing. No one likes this. We want it to be okay, and it isn't like that. And so I think it was that recognition that I was at this point in my career, and it was supposed to be a struggle. It was not going to be easy. I don't know, Steve. It was just, it wasn't everything. It was just allow me to embrace the place I was in, and it made me accept how hard it had been to get to this point. And I think in some ways it freed me up to then have an amazing 8 months. And I really did. And it wasn't just that; it was a combination of things, and that culminated in winning the Olympic silver medal.
So,
And the
so in
first thing I
essence,
did,
Rog,
I just add
sorry.
something to that, Steve. The first thing I
Yeah.
did, so you know what it's like. You win your medal, you get your medal. It's late at night. You go back. You wake up in the morning, and you do the rounds. You do the press rounds. You do the TV rounds, and it was brilliant. One of the best days of my life. You're happy. You've done it. Great. And I remember being picked up from the Olympic Village, and and then say, okay, we've got to go to BBC, you've got to do an interview with Des Lynam, you've got to go there. And I said, great, but can we just do one thing first? And we diverted in the cab to the outside the gymnastics stadium so
Oh,
that
wow.
I could have a photo of me with my Olympic medal standing underneath this huge, the original, this huge sculpture. And that was a massive moment for me, not because of the sculpture, but because of the motto that I had learned through that.
So that's one of your most prized possessions now, this miniature
Yeah, I bought
divinity.
it.
That you
Yeah,
bought
I
it.
bought I bought one. I bought one, and funny enough, I shipped it over from California, and it actually arrived the day after the Olympic trials. Because I was a bit worried about buying this statue and then not making the Olympics, but fortunately, it all went okay.
So the cliche question: if your house is on fire and you have to run back in and grab three things, is it on the
I
list?
can't grab that; it's too heavy.
Okay, give us a hand.
But no, I think that ignition, accepting that it's okay to struggle
Yeah. You've just
is
hit that's the key word I'm hearing
yeah,
from you. As you've gone through that story, and that was apologies jumping in, but it's acceptance, accepting reality. If you
mm,
fight it, you're in a bad place, right? Because you can't, you
yeah,
have to go with the flow of the journey. And we talk about this when we present, don't we? The linear
mm,
line of expectation of success that's going to take
mm,
us on this direct pathway, or, hope it will. And sometimes it does, very rarely. The much more likely route is a wiggly line that
yeah,
goes all over the place. And if you don't accept that, well, first of all, that journey is a pretty laborious one, isn't it?
mm,
It makes that journey much tougher. And I suppose in some ways you're saying the fun is in the journey as well, right? The journey is where that's part of the whole
sure, yeah.
experience,
The
right?
good
It's not,
times, the bad times, the people you take with you, the
yeah.
people who have been part of it. You know as well as I do that we're very, very fortunate and privileged to have stood on the Olympic rostrum with a medal around our neck and turn to one side and see the flag go up. And sometimes it's a national anthem, sometimes it's someone else's national anthem, but you're on there.
Hey, listen, I know every word to the Czech national anthem, mate.
Yeah, yeah, and
Like
I know,
Jans or
I know,
Leslie.
I can sing the American national anthem over and over again. But what that feeling is that often you then think about that you're the person standing there, but you do think about all the people that were part of that journey for you to stand there.
Mm,
And those, I
mm.
mean, there's a lovely photo of me on the roster with Michael Johnson with a tear coming down his side of his cheek, and he blames me for that because he suddenly snapped himself out of not being in the moment, and then just was reflecting on his family, I think, and the struggle to get there, the journey. And I think that's part of this whole Olympic motto.
And no one ever sees it, right? It's not,
No,
it's
that's it.
invisible to, in Paris this summer, the Olympics, and everyone on their journeys towards their various outcomes that they're not completely in control of, and everyone's got a struggle, right? No one's coasting on with a wind on their back, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I totally. That's something in that. There's something in that, isn't there? Because
Yeah.
what we tend to do is you look at people who are doing really well, and you think, oh well, it's okay for them. Everybody is struggling. It's almost like the people who can manage their struggle better. Now, look, there are degrees of struggle. Okay, we get that. But I think it's a good starting point is to look at people, and we live in a world of social media, and you think, oh, wow, God, I wish I had their life, this, that, and the other. If your starting point is they're struggling, then deep down they're struggling with something. Don't know what it is. It always levels things a bit, doesn't it? It's the acceptance of the struggle. And there's a lovely thing in my event, the 400 meters. Everyone often says, why do some people accelerate more than others over the last 100 meters of the 400-meter race? And the answer is nobody's accelerating.
Everyone's decent.
Everybody is decelerating. The winner is the person who decelerates the least. And maybe, there's something in that with struggling. It's that the winners tend to be the people who can manage their struggles better.
Final question: where does that translate into everyday life? Is it a matter of just
Well,
acceptance, a same lesson, just in the
I guess
context of everyday
I
life?
guess the context of things, when people make a big life-changing decision, whether it's going from employment to self-employment or whatever it may be, everyone has this big dream of being successful, And maybe the relevance is accepting that it's going to be a struggle and it's okay. And in fact, it is the struggle that will make you successful. So it comes back to that acceptance of the struggle, which is
So
what
when
that motto did for me. It definitely did that for me.
tough times come along, and it's okay because you accept them, that it's part of the journey,
and
right?
you do something about it, and you recognize
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. So go on, right, remind us one last time.
So it's an Olympic motto, and it is the essence lies not in the victory, but in the struggle. It's not about the moment of victory. It's about the struggle to get there.
Amazing. Great stuff. Thanks, Roger.